can you briefly explain the three phases of the line 6 in life, and about what ages they break up, and what the basic experience of those are, and then we'll go into detail about each of those phases. So first and foremost, looking for that sort of quick overview for people who are human design newbies, who may be a line 6 and want to understand it better, or somebody who might know a line 6 and they're just trying to get their head wrapped around what this line 6 role model is all about.
All right. So the line 6 is very different from the other profile lines because we actually have a tri-phase way of moving through life. So the first phase, and I'm going to say it in this way, so it might be a little bit easier for people to understand, but this is really the child, the mother, and the crone. So that's another way of really looking at the three phases. The first phase is from 0 to about 28, your Saturn return, where you're actually really moving through life like a third line profile. So you are experiencing life, you are bumping up against all the fun trials and errors, and you're really living a lot of life that is going to bring you into your next phase. So between 0 to 28, you're really finding out about yourself through, your conditioning through your family and your friends and, the work that you do in society. And then around 28, your Saturn return, you're kind of like, is this really me? And so from the age of 28 to about 50, we move into the mother phase, or the on the roof, as they call it. This is like a bubble, right? This is where we actually get the chance to kind of mother our child. We get to really do this healing of all of the things that we bumped up to in the first phase of our life. And we really get to deeply understand ourselves and connect to all the trials and tribulations and do the healing that it takes to go on to the next phase. So around 50 years old, your Chiron return, you go off the roof. So you get out of the bubble and it's like you're kind of back into experiencing life, but you have the wisdom of the first 50 years of your life from being the child and really, playing the line 3 expression to healing those aspects of yourself and doing the deconditioning work so that you can be, in your crone wisdom, you have that wisdom, you have that understanding, you have that knowingness that you get to, as Karen says, kind of quietly live out your life being the highest expression of all the profile lines because you've kind of moved through them all. And so with the line 6, the crone wisdom is really sharing that wisdom, being the wisdom, and really being fully embodied, which I have to say that has been a journey on its own.
Well said. Thank you very much for that description. And yes, that is going to be a journey, definitely, and an ongoing journey. And that's one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about today on this panel. Tomas, can you just let me know, where are you in your phase? Are you still line 3 experimenting? Have you moved on to the roof? Where are you at this point in your experiment?
I'm 34 now, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's been easier after some years, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've recently moved, from your first phase into your second phase. So can you tell me a little bit about your first phase? And I will also qualify it that you are a 3/6. So technically speaking, you spent your first, 29 years of your life as a 3/3, like, sort of the double theme of experimentation. So what was that like? How did that show up for you when you look back?
First thing I can say is I'm glad it's over. Second thing is it has been lifetimes lived in a very short time, and also what people tell me, because I'm doing inner work, some healing stuff, etc. So it's like it has been experience of like getting up, failing, getting up again, failing again, getting up again, failing it again, and that nonstop. Especially since I moved out of my parents' place, so out of home, got to university, etc. It has been just a crazy, crazy roller coaster. Just sometimes I was thinking, like, what am I even doing here? Like, why am I getting up again? Because I'm gonna fail. Or then I was optimistic again and thinking, like, yay, this time I get it. And then I went one single step forwards, and then boom, was smashed in the face again. This is how it felt like. So it was not pleasant. It was not nice. But it was also a lot of fun because I have experienced things like I've been doing so many things. Like it's really enough for 10 lifetimes, also being self-employed. So I've been selling real estate. I've been doing coaching business. I have been a coach for like top 3 company in Europe in their area. I just bumped into experience after experience after experience after experience. And yeah, now it's a little more quiet, which I really enjoy. And I would have never been thinking I would enjoy it. So I also love this like high speed, like experience, like getting to know this, getting to know that, working at a TV channel as a cameraman, getting behind the stage of all kinds of events. And like, yeah, it has been a crazy roller coaster, like really crazy. And I'm glad I'm still alive.
And I think that the backdrop that you have with the birds and the singing is perfect now for sort of this phase of moving on the roof and a little bit more peaceful and environment. Yeah. And can you tell me, just continuing on that theme, because now you're in your first couple of years as you transitioned, and the transition is not overnight, right? It takes some time. And so can you talk to me a little bit about that transition out of that phase and now your status, your vibe, now that you are beginning this on the roof journey? How is that showing up for you?
Yeah. The first thing I can say, I still love in a transformation. This is just my theme. It's also my design. Just transformation is the thing. So it went also pretty quickly. So before I was a digital nomad, traveling the world, coming just from India and like all kinds of things. Then with 28, like just like 9 months later, I was married and in my hometown, living there with my wife that I know since childhood, where I always felt like it's her. I knew it from since we were not born, but like I know her since childhood. So it was always her, but I needed to get through some other experiences first, which I saw then. And everything has much more settled. So I'm not any longer traveling around. We're still living in both our hometown. And it's more like I can harvest the fruits of all the trial and error that I went through. There's still a lot of learning going on, but it's a slower pace and it's more like not in thin air, just spinning around, getting nowhere. But actually I see results coming in. And I find more clarity about like who I am, because it was a long struggle of like, what do I even put on my website? Because it changed so rapidly. Like every day I could have changed my website, my entire like positioning, everything, the whole freaking business. Right. So that was quite frustrating. And people were also asking me like, what are you about in the end? Like you're always changing, like stick to one thing, only do that. And I tried to do that and shamed myself for not being able to just to stick to one thing. And was also thinking the way to success is just like linear. But for me, it's more like a sinus curve, right? It's so alive. I see the direction was always like this, but with this modulation on top, which was quite extreme this way. So yeah, now there's more peace, more contentment, and also less of a wanting to get anywhere, but just like more of an enjoying what's there, what's unfolding, more love, more appreciation, and also through feedback from others, the realization that there's some depth here, which is rare for most people. Like most people don't even know what I talk about when I would fully open up. And I always imagine everyone is like that. But I get the constant feedback that there's a quality, which I know I have gained through some experience or a lot of experience, which is like profound and not everywhere.